What's good, you guys? In today's video we're going to talk about progressive overload and what that means. This is the main reason you guys are plateauing and you're not seeing progress, so I'm here to help you out. But before we continue, let's talk about the elephant in the room. I know you see this glorious white cast. Mind your business, that's just a beer tan I got over the summer. I'm working on it. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go out there today and get some sun on this. Anywho, progressive overload. Let's talk about it. So progressive overload is a fundamental principle and it is important to understand. If you're trying to progress in exercise, you don't understand progressive overload, you're kind of just winging it and just hoping that you see progress. So what is it? It is the way in which we structure our exercise and modify our exercise in order to stimulate growth. We are doing that by placing an increase in demand on the body each training session. Because if we do the same stuff over and over and over, we're only going to see so much progress. The body's smart. If we're only placing X amount of demand, it ain't gonna get stronger to handle a stronger workload unless you force your body to work. So within this progressive overload, we got 6, maybe 7 core components, right? Things that make up progressive overload. Things that you can modify and play with. So I'm gonna show you them right now. These are our components for progressive overload. All right, so let's look at the anatomy of exercise. In this particular example, we got the bench press, right? So an exercise consists of sets and reps. Reps means repetitions, which is how many times you're performing a given exercise in a set. A set is how many times you are repeating X amount of reps. 3 sets of 10, I'm repeating 10 reps 3 different times. Each time I complete 10 reps, I'm going to take a rest period. That's pretty much the way you structure an exercise. But there are other components, right? So again, look at the bench press. We out here benching 135, 3 sets of 10, with a rest period of a minute in between. If I want to progressively overload that, the easiest way is to do 1 more rep than last time. This week, 3 sets of 10. Next week, on that last set, maybe I do 11 reps. Or maybe I suck it up and do 11 reps for each set. Just saying. You can also increase the weight, which is the most obvious or intuitive way to increase progressive overload. Instead of 135, we rocking with 140, 145. Maybe you don't want to touch the weight or the reps. Maybe you want to do another set, 4 sets of 10. Boom, progressively overload. This is more work than we did last time for this exercise. Let's say you don't want to touch any of that. We got TUT, T-U-T. All that is time under tension. And let me show you a real life example of time under tension. All right, time under tension. That's the amount of time your muscle is under tension or resisting a load or weight, right? So there's a few ways. We can go up slower on the concentric, which is opposing resistance. We could take a pause. Did I hear that truck, the ambulance? Crazy, interrupting my video, super rude. Damn, someone probably dying, my bad. Never mind that. So the concentric would be opposing the resistance. Let's say we go 2 seconds up. Pausing is isometric. Let's say we add in a pause or hold for 2 seconds. Let's say we go down for 3 seconds. If you want to progressively overload that, next training session, take 4 seconds coming down. Come up a little slower, pause a little longer. You can modify all those things to make the exercise more challenging. Another way to increase time under tension is to play with the range of motion of the exercise. So what I mean, I'm gonna show you. So we busting out the curls for the girls. We're all the way at the top right here. There's essentially very little resistance, not much work on the biceps. See, I could just play with the weight, right? But if I stop just out here, it's a lot harder and there's more time under tension. I don't get the rest that I do at the top. So that is a way you can increase time under tension, and you can do that with different exercises. Now rest is another component, but it kind of bleeds into time under tension a little bit, and I'll explain why. So rest periods, right? Instead of a minute, we rest 45 seconds. We're putting more work on our body or greater demand because we're not taking as much rest. But that is similar to time under tension, because in this span of time, our muscles are under greater amounts of tension because we're not resting. But anywho, treat them like they're two separate things. They do kind of bleed into each other. Just want to throw that out there. So speaking of rest, like I said, 45 seconds, maybe 40 seconds. But one thing I do want to note is if you are training with a specific goal in mind, maybe for strength, or you're in the lower rep ranges, you're generally gonna need a longer rest period unless you get used to it. Because the lower the reps are, the higher the weight probably is, which means your body may need a little more time to be ready for the next set. Also, your next set doesn't look like hot garbage. We're on the sixth and final component of progressive overload, and that is the frequency. Let's talk about frequency, because people are scared sometimes to train a muscle group more than 2-3 times a week, right? Or 2-3 times a week rather. Think about it this way. In a 10-week period of time, we are hitting a body part once, or focusing on a body part once per week. That's 10 opportunities we're gonna have to stimulate growth or just to grow, right? Now, maybe we hit in 2-3 times a week for a 10-week period. Now we have 20 to 30 opportunities to stimulate growth. Isn't that much better than 10? I think it is. It should be. It is. No way around that, right? But some people do kind of push it way too much and do things like 5 times a week. If you had that working capacity, cool. But sometimes if you're doing too much, you don't let your body recover, you end up getting burnt out, or your training sessions just aren't good enough because you can't put in the effort. And the seventh kind of unofficial way to progressively overload is to make sure your form is very strict or getting stricter. Let's say we out here curling, again, easy example. Let's say my 10th rep, super hard, I have to cheat a little bit, right? Keep that in mind when you start having to cheat. Maybe on that 10th, try your very best strict form, because you're placing a greater demand on the body by doing it in a strict fashion. Because maybe we struggle here, boom, we're using the rest of the body to get it up and not the targeted muscles. Maybe let's go a little slower. Maybe let's just focus on the form and be real strict with the form as best as you can. And don't get me wrong, sometimes it's super helpful to cheat. It is. And that'll be a topic for another video. But that's pretty much it, guys. This was a straightforward video. I'm just breaking down progressive overload in the simplest way I can think. So again, let's recap. We have 6 major components, unofficial, borderline 7th. We got our sets, our reps, the resistance or weight that we're using. We have rest periods. We have time under tension. We got frequency. And the unofficial 7th, which is just strict form. So I hope this has been an informative video for you guys today. I enjoyed making it. I'm looking forward to bringing you guys more content like this. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so I keep bringing you this juicy content. And until next time, guys, keep doing your stretches, watch your posture, and mind your business. Peace.